I'm just one of us that see something that the rest of us don't see, telling the rest of us what we missing and why we missing it and how our perception has been shifted. Now that people are starting to see what I'm talking about, we in for what's called a paradigm shift, right? We got to shift out of the old energy in order to shift into the new energy. And the new energy is matriarchal energy for the new age. The history of the earth has always came through the womb of the women. We can argue everything we want to, but we can't disprove that. So they try to tell us that God is a man, and everybody that come into this physical realm got to come through a uterus. They tell us that they made man and made woman from his rib. But well, where was the baby gestating at during that time it was growing? What womb was it in? Because you can't get here. It's proven. You can't get here in the physical form as a child of the earth, the stars, and the moon, and the sun if you don't come through the portal of life.
Okay.
It's the only entrance into this realm. So everybody can come up with every excuse for the masculine supremacy. And I'm going to keep telling them the God man, the most masculine one, is the one that's going to tell you that God is the woman. Because he wants you to know the truth, not because he wants to humiliate you. Because once you understand the truth, and then you can see where the shift took place, you can help us put the new world back in order. That's all we here for. I'll be back in another 26,000 years to do this shit again and be mad as hell that they had to call me from my rest. That's all of the tribes tell you, that before we do that, we have to go consult with the clan mother. They all said that. It's documented. It's not like it's no fantasy shit. This is documented by the motherfuckers that invaded us. So they told us to sell land. All the chiefs tell them the same thing. That's absurd. We can't sell you no land because only the clan mothers can own it. So they tried to trick us with paperwork. That's where the problem came in, because they conditioned us using uniforms and uniform commercial code as the application of law. But it was the admiralty jurisdiction in the override of the law of the land, which is the great law. So the women say, no more was this admiralty shit. We only following the great law now. It's already in the public domain by one of the clan mothers in Canada talking to the Pope. It's not a secret. Right? And that's how we gave public notice to all of the clans, because all of the clans is involved. Even the ones that think that we ain't talking up for them, we talking up for them too. They just don't know it yet. Because one thing about it, we fight amongst each other, but I promise you this, we'll burn this bitch down, get us pissed.
Okay.
Right? So we can fight amongst each other, but right now, we getting the imposters out the way first, and then we can fight in a more civil manner. Right? But if you don't know civics, you don't know how to be civil. And if you want to be the master of your own destiny, you have to live the applied civics. Civics is taking you back to the law of the land. Right? And when you get back to the law of the land, you stuck under the law of the matriarchs. Mm-hmm. And it's been said 1,000 times over, there will be no balance until the great mother is did what? Put back on her throne.
Back on her throne.
So, that's the order of the day. Put her back on her throne. We the clans organic to the land who've been invaded by people that look like us, that's not us, that's trying to disassociate us from the land in order to capture the land holdings from the mothers. I'm the cleanup man. I'm the baby boy that come at the end of all of the rest of them that couldn't figure it out and tell them what they missed. It was all part of a protracted struggle of 500 years war. It's supposed to have been over in 1992. Right? So we go back to what happened in 1992. Rodney King got beat by the police.
Mm-hmm.
So King Rodney was put in their custody. Simultaneously, two things is transpiring on two different parts of the land. They see the Rodney King beaten, but they don't see King Rodney being wrapped up by the police and put in the car. Two things playing out on the land at the same time in the public domain, but do the tribes remember their culture? Because if you don't remember your culture, you will never know that the elders is talking to you and the ancestors is using what they have in front of you to reveal what they doing behind you. Right? So while the ancestors is forcing the hand of those who's trying to oppress us, they reveal in their dirt, because everything they do has to be put in the public domain so we can show the people in some form or another. Normally they put it in the forms of art and entertainment because we don't take it serious.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then they tell the story. And then they tell there's so much symbolism that you have to know hieroglyphics so you can read what's being said. Because they talk in the images of animals and automobiles. Right? So we get Fast and Furious right before the Transformers convert into the gorillas. It's a cannonball run, a scavenger hunt race across the land, chasing the drag queen that's trying to impersonate the queen.
Mm-hmm.
The Statue of Liberty. Right? Where the Treaty of Peace and Friendship was signed in Paris. Where we got the Statue of Liberty from, a drag queen, right? And what they erect at the same time in Paris, the Eiffel Tower, the same designer. I fell to a drag queen on the land, and they call her Martha Washington, and that's how you chop down the cherry tree. You replace it with testicles.
Facts.
So now there's no true air coming from the leadership arena because the leadership is artificial and it's a drag race across the land. So they strike out on the Louisiana expedition in order to map out the Louisiana territory to get the drag queen from the East Coast to the West. So now the Chiefs got to follow and backtrack in order to chase the drag queen on the cannonball run to pick up all of the pieces to the puzzle that put it all back together. So they said that when they did the Lewis and Clark expedition, that all of our castles was empty. Why are our castles empty? Because we don't send our sons to war if we ain't going with them. I don't care if I'm 90 years old. My son's going to war. I'm going to be one of the shooters.
Okay.
And that's the reason why the Chiefs wore the war bonnets, to make them visible to the rest of the clan and show them the direction that he going. We didn't wear that shit on a day-to-day basis. They act like we just walked around in that shit like that was our everyday dress code. That was for ceremonial purposes. And if we go into war, the tribes need to see us at a distance. So we wore the war bonnet. They know where the chief at. Whatever happened, they ain't gonna let the chief fall, even though he the first in the march. So then they told us we lived in teepees. We didn't live in no goddamn teepees. That was camp settlements on our way to the Gullah Wars. But we don't know our culture, so we can't read that shit. So Elijah Muhammad say, accept your own and be yourself. Noble Drew Ali say, you are what your ancestors were without a doubt or contradiction. Put your hands and knees and motherfucking forehead on the ground and ask Mother Earth where you belong. There won't be no mistake whether you from this side of the water or not. We the only ones talk to Mother Earth like that. They simulated in Islam with what they call as-salat.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But they don't know what we was doing when we got down in that position. They didn't know we was consulting with the greatest oracle of them all, Mother Earth herself, because she'll give you the whole history of the earth if you mentally strong enough to accept it. They call that reading the Akashic records. Because her daughter Akasha was the bookkeeper of all time. until they pissed off her sister. She came out raging about her babies, and they called her Kali Ma in Sekhmet. But when you put it all together, then you can reach the infinite potential that we was all meant to reach. But they keep tricking us with the BS. Yeah.
I agree.
And that's a critical part of shadow work too. That's part of knowledge of self. Tapping into the ancestral realm is tapping back into your DNA reservoir. All of the ancestors are present in you. If you listen, you can hear them, and you can hear them arguing with each other when the dirty one's trying to put you up to do some bullshit.